All right. Just great. So thank you everyone for making a commitment to join us for this coaching session this evening. We're going to talk about habit formation and habit reformation. Now, when you hear the word formation, it means possibly there are things you have always desired to exhibit in your own life, because you're going to be quantified by the outlook of your habits. People don't just become great. People are always the product of the things they do every single day. And you realize that both success and failure is predictable. You can actually predict where you're going based on your daily habits. The other day, I was speaking to a group of professionals, and I was telling them, if you just want to know your priorities, go and look at your M-Pesa transaction between last week on Monday to between the last 1 week or the last 2 weeks. If you just go and check through, just have the discipline of sitting down and looking at your M-Pesa transactions, you can easily tell of your priorities. And you realize that the things we do every single day, they flow out of our identity. The things we do every single day flows out of our identity. And our identity basically is who we are. If you go back and look at human anthropology, or just the whole aspect of anthropology, the study of man, and the questions that man continue to contend with every single day of his life, man is always asking himself, where did I come from? And also man is always asking himself, why am I here? Man is always asking himself, who am I? Who am I in this world? And where am I going? So those 4 questions for me, I take them very seriously. Where did I come from? Why am I here? Where am I going, and who am I? And if you're going to answer the question of who am I, and the entire question of identity, you're going to resolve the question of your purpose. Lately, I've in this thing that they call purpose, and every one of us continues to contend with that reality of what is my purpose. Ian, you'll just help me admit people on your end. I think you have that power. And people have been asking themselves, what then should I be doing with my life? Professionals, people have gone into the heights of their academic ladder. People have gone to the heights of their professional ladder. They have become the creme de la creme in their area of professionalism. But they continue to contend with the question, what is my purpose? What am I finding joy and fulfillment in the things that I'm doing? And therefore, for me, those four questions are very critical for my understanding, and they continue to really beg the question of, then how do I behave around the day? Because every single day, when every day unfolds, it's an opportunity for you to step into the best version of yourself. It's an opportunity for you to showcase it's an opportunity for you to showcase your God-given abilities. It's an opportunity for you to showcase your creativity. Whether you are employed, you are a professional in this professional setup, or you are a business person running your own entity and organization, or you are leading people in a team or in an organization or in a company. The most intentional thing you need to ask yourself is, how am I becoming the best version of myself? Because if ever you find yourself in this cocoon where you are actually admiring your 2 years ago, you are admiring your ex, you are admiring where you have come from, you are admiring 5 years ago, you are still admiring your campus days and the things you used to do. You say, when I was young, I used to do this. When I was possibly in a relationship with this man or with this lady, these are the things I used to do. If you are admiring your past by the fact that you're not becoming better, there's a problem. There's a disconnect between your past and present. You are really not experiencing growth, because your past needs to continue to be a template that continue to push you forward. You admire your past because you have become a better version of yourself. You say statements like, when I was in campus, this is how I started. And really, this has continued to build my capacity to who I am today. You don't say, when I was in campus, Maze, I used to be consistent. I used to read well. I used to have good friends. And right now, you are crumbling within your own skin. It therefore means that there is a contentious war that is going on between your present and your past. Now, listen, if you're going to reform your habits, one of the things you have to understand is this: whether you've had a very crazy past, you've gone through life circumstances and issues that have really crushed you or really crushed you in your past, you will never forget that experience. You will never forget the things you went through when you're young. You'll never forget the breakup you went through when you're in campus. You will never forget the experience you went through possibly when you started your first job or you started your first business. But the most important and sacred commitment you need to do as a professional, as an individual, as an entrepreneur is this: you need to outgrow your past. And that's where habit reformation comes in. That's also where habit formation comes in. If you're wounded in your past, if you went through excruciating life experience that really broke loose your humanity, your sense of essence, you need to make sure that you are reforming the way you live today. You're continuing to form the way you're living today, so that you when you remember your past, you don't start breaking down, but when you remember your past, it continues to inspire you towards the future. And that is very important for your consideration as an individual. So every single day, we are contending with who we need to become, what we need to do. Now, when I started this coaching session, I mentioned this, that the people that are going to change this world are not the most powerful. The people who are going to change this world are people who are consistent. People who show up every day. They show up tired. They show up broke. They show up without everything figured out. But they show up with a deeper sense of urgency that life can get better. Things can continue to take shape of growth and development. And that is very important for your consideration. If you're going to change the way you look at things, the way you behave around your purpose, your life, and all that God has actually empowered you to do as a professional, as an individual, and as a person of value that you need to become. The other thing that I need to mention as we continue to go on with this discussion is this. I know most of us seated in this call tonight, possibly you're contending with some heavy realities. Possibly you've been fired, or you've been served a warning letter by your boss, or you're not finding meaning and fulfillment in your workplace, or you've just started a business and you've started an initiative of your own, and you do not see the clarity of the future or where you're going as an individual. Or possibly you're in this call tonight, you have this strong vision and a deeper sense of trying to ask yourself, can I be someone of value? Can I be a person of value? Now, those are very important questions to ask yourself. But if you're going through if possibly you're in this call and you're going through the valley of the shadow, you are not understanding what is going on, you are in this deep-ended shadow and you do not understand what tomorrow holds. You feel some sense of fear around you. You still feel some sense of fear around what even God is beckoning you to do. Or possibly there are people who you've been hanging around, so to say, and they've been telling you, man, I think you can do this. You are gifted in this and that. Or possibly they're telling you, girl, I see the energy you carry. I see the vision that you carry. And you yourself, you do not even see that. Because this is it, friends. In my years of coaching and in my years of personal growth and development, I'll say this. Gifted people see everyone else apart from themselves. People who are gifted, the most dangerous place we find ourselves into, the gray areas we find ourselves into, we see everything around apart from ourselves. We tend to see how you can take your business to the next level, how you can change things around you. But most of the time, we don't see us. You don't see you. And sometimes you tend to ask yourself, then how is my business going to take up? Because the truth is, your business, your career, your social networks, your growth and development as an individual is going to grow to the level of the person behind that brand. Because people don't just build brands. people build personalities. People build their sense of identity. When you build your sense of identity as an individual, everything else gravitates towards that direction. So you don't chase greatness. You make a commitment to build your capacity as an individual, your personality as an individual, your sense of identity as an individual, because therefore everything else revolves around that. Your mindset shifts, your spirituality shifts, you are possibly your physicality also shifts, your financial mindset also shifts, your social networks also shift, because you're continuing to build that sense of identity and a sense of self-awareness, so to say. And that is very important for consideration. So allow me to pull up my presentation. I don't know if that is hitting someone, or someone possibly someone has something to say. And let me just also mention, as we continue to go on with this discussion, feel free to jump in. Feel free just to lift up your hand and say, I have a comment or something that you've said I wanted clarity on, so that we are together in this call. I know there are quite a number of things we can talk about, but I'm going to just concentrate this conversation in a few discussions that you're going to have. So even as I pull this presentation up, let me just try to locate it. I'll continue to challenge us and say, please make sure you understand that the people around you are waiting for the better version of yourself. The people around you are waiting for the better version of yourself. So it's so important for you to making sure that you challenge yourself towards growing to the next level, and making sure that you do not lose the rhythm of your growth and development as an individual. So just to continue on, my name is Eugene Okanda. For those who don't know me, and possibly you're coming into this conversation for the first time, I am a personal development coach. I am a public speaking coach as well. I am a leadership coach. I run a company called Okanda Leadership Academy, which is a corporate training and consultancy firm. So we do a lot of personal growth and development projects. We train companies, institutions, and individuals just to help them go to the next level and also grow to the next level. One of the mantras we have in our company is that people don't go to the next level, people grow to the next level. Therefore, we try to work alongside people, institutions, to making sure that they grow to the next level. 3 books that you screen, maybe not to assume. Are you guys able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, it's yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So I've written a book on public speaking and communication hacks, and it's a very, very practical book. It doesn't have stories, it has practical principles on building public speaking, your public speaking sort of capacity. I've been speaking now nearly a decade, and I've spoken in huge platforms, small platforms, leading conversations in boardrooms. And through all that experience, I've gathered a few tips that I've been able to put them down in a paper. And if you want to get a copy, actually, you can also just reach out to me. By the virtue that you're in this call, I think all of you have access to my contact. You can just reach out. We'll be able to share with you an order link, and then you can be able to order. And we do deliveries across the country. But if you're outside the country, because I know there are people who are joining us who are outside the country, you can just get the book on Amazon. I've also written a book on building up your gift. I've titled it The Pressure of Being Gifted. And the book talks about how do you identify your gift? How do you build your gift from the ground up? I've also shared in this book my life story, how I overcame childhood trauma. I was able to battle with mental health, and at some point I almost committed suicide. I grew up I grew up in a very obscure sort of family, and quite a number of things and possibly quite a number of us who are joining this call, and you've heard my story. I've shared quite a bit on that book, and you can get the book as well and read it for yourself, and it will change your life. I've also been able to analyze that the fear of public speaking, what we call glossophobia, normally starts in the teenagehood. People who struggle to communicate confidently, impactfully, but also effectively, the problem did not start in their adulthood. The problem started in their teenagehood. So I've written a book on for the teenagers, specifically for the teenagers. It's titled The A to Z of Public Speaking for a Teenager. It's a very practical book, and it really, really captures the A to Z. I've tried to summarize everything I know about public speaking into an A to Z acronym, and I've been able to write this book. It has taken me quite a number of extensive research work. Also, bearing in mind the first book on public speaking that we have actually trained over 500 professionals and individuals on public speaking. There's a 6-week coaching program that I run for guys who like to build a career out of public speaking. I do individual coaching sessions. So if you have any questions on that, you can also reach on the same. I'm finalizing on my 4th book, which is going to be launched on the 25th of May at Sitam Valley Road. And we're going to have a conference that I'm actually calling Young and Bold. So basically, that's what we will be doing concerning that, and quite a number of things. We're going to share them later on. All right. So basically, in this call, because that sort of background was also important for those people who have never had me or who have never interacted. Maybe you're joining this conversation for the first time and you've never seen me anywhere. This is an opportunity for us just to get to know who I am and all that. So thank you so much for honoring me with your presence here. I've also been into the diplomatic world. I'm currently serving as the Kenya United Nations youth representative. Quite a number of opportunities globally. I'll not want to get more into that, but it's also been an experience for me, so to say. So if you want to get into diplomatic world, the guys who are passionate about SDGs, I know them in my fingertips. I was also part of I took part in the formation and in the restructuring of the current document that the United Nations is using called the Pact for the Future, which is a summarized version of the SDGs, because the SDGs are almost coming to a closure, and now member states are making new agreements concerning where the world is going. Anyway, that's all. I mean, that's all. And possibly that's why I'm so excited about this conversation tonight, because your greatness is wrapped in your habits. Your greatness is wrapped in your habits. You don't seek to be great. You seek to building great habits. That's actually a tweetable statement. You don't seek to be great. You seek to build great habits, which automatically pushes you to becoming a great person. And that's what I've seen in my professionalism and in the things that I've been doing in the past number of years by God's grace. And I'll be turning 30 coming May 14th next month. And I'm so excited because my 30 is really a reflection. And that's why in the beginning of this year, I committed myself to read the book by Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. Stephen Bartlett wrote that book when he was 30 years old, and he has been able to build a multi-billion-dollar business when he was 30 years old. And when that book was handed over to me, when I got it from the bookstore, I was really moved and marveled by the gravitas of this young man who has built businesses. He has been able to write books. He has interviewed. If you guys have watched the Diary of a CEO podcast, it's such a podcast that can really revitalize the way you look at life and the potential that you carry as an individual. Now, you realize that actually one of the things I came to understand when I went through that book in the month of January is that most of the time we tend to think that let me rephrase it in a different way so that it can hit home. Most of us, we are the victim of our circumstances. So we are the victim of our circumstances based on where we grew up, based on who we are even dating. Based on where we cool. Now, your life looks something like this on the screen. Ian, you want to say something? Someone, or there's a mic that is on? Yes, yes, Ian.
We are good to go. Continue.
Okay. So your life looks like something like this on the screen. The tip of the iceberg are the things that people see. Those are the possibly success stories, the kind of a lifestyle you're living, the best photo you post on Instagram, the best video you post on TikTok, the best video the best possibly your best outlook that you post anywhere you post. But underneath the sea, there is a huge chunk of the things that literally make you up, things that define your reality, things that make up your mindset. And most of us, we are trying to push ourselves so hard to reach our goals, but there's this huge chunk of the iceberg that is stuck beneath the sea, and it's holding us hostage. So you've become a victim of your own circumstances. You try to start up a business, it doesn't pick. You try to start up a relationship, it doesn't work. You start possibly applying for job opportunities, you never get called. Or some of you get called, you sit in an interview and they don't pick you up because of how you are able to present yourself, and maybe even you did so well. But you continue to ask yourself, what is the problem? Now, the problem is everything underneath the sea. Now, you have to understand our behavior or our habit is a sequence. It's a sequence because if you're writing, and you have to write this because this is not part of the slide, this is in my head. Our behavior or our habit is a result of, first of all, our belief system. And where do we get our belief system? Our belief system is captured. It is not taught. Our belief system are things we capture on our way to becoming, on our way to finding ourselves. So it's captured from where you grew up, your background, where you are raised by whoever raised you. It's captured through the systems of education. So where you went to school. Yesterday, I posted something on my Facebook, and I was saying it is not the name of the university you went that matters. It is what that name did to your head, it did to your character, and it did to your ethics as an individual. And therefore, you realize that your belief system is captured through this social setting. So the social setting of a family, the social setting of even your place of work. So you'll find that you're behaving in some type of a way based on what you see your colleagues doing at the workplace. You changed the location of where you live because you figured out that most of your colleagues live in this kind of an area. Or possibly you started speaking in some type of a way because of a certain environment that you grew up in. So our belief system. Now, your belief forms up your thinking or your thought. And you see, your thought or your ability to conceptualize ideas is informed by your belief system. So we have the belief system at the substratum, and then we have the thoughts, that we carry, the way you think about yourself. And then after your thoughts makes up your actions. So when you take up an action, is a conglomerate of the thinking that you have conceptualized from the belief system that you have. And then your thoughts makes up your habits. So your thoughts are an outcome of possibly your thoughts, your habits, so to say, are an outcome of your habits. And then now your habits, the things you do consistently, gives you a sense of behavior. So it gives you a sense of the way you carry yourself, the way you do things, and the character that you emulate around yourself. So you see, it's a chain. So if you have a behavior issue, you don't change, first of all, you don't change the habit. You start, first of all, by trying to do the assessment of your belief system. Where did you get the things that you're doing? So you pick it up from your belief system. If you have a problem in your habits, if you're spending too much time on social media and you're asking yourself, how am I going to change? You don't, first of all, start to change the timelines that you start asking yourself, what is the belief system that forms up this habit? What is the thought process? What is the action process that forms up this habit. So you realize that this is an iceberg that makes up quite a lot of the things beneath the sea of our lives. So you don't just start changing the outcome of the things that people can see, you start changing the things that people don't see. Now, to shock you, or maybe some of you know this, 10% is the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. 90% is what is underneath, and that is quite a shocking reality. So let me put something like this. So what lies beneath success, for example? So most of the time, people see the trophies, people see the things that you have been able to achieve. They don't see the risk that you took, the resistance nature that you had, the rejections that you have gone through, the sacrifices that you've been able to put in, the doubts, the disappointments, the failure, the stress, and all that. They don't see the innovations that you've been able to put in. They've not been able to see the honesty, passion, good habits that you've emulated, the sense of consistency that you've been able to emulate. People don't see all those things because all those things are beneath the sea of your life. Now, this is important for us to understand. James Clear in his book said that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Now, let me break that down. Goals are the desired outcome. Goals are not the things that you should be excited about. Of course, goals is a way of getting yourself started, but it should not be a point of complacency. Goals are the desired outcome. Goals are not the things you can capture. It's not the things you can say I have achieved. Behind every goal, there must be a system of action. If you've told yourself that by the end of May next month, I'm going to read at least 2 books, the action bit of it is asking yourself, what kind of books am I going to read? You see, the goal is I'm going to read 2 books. That is the desired outcome. Now, the systems you build around that goal is this. You ask yourself, what books am I going to read? You write them down. So like next month, we are for those who are in our leadership community, we are going to read the book Primal Leadership by Daniel Goleman and his friends who wrote the book on unleashing the power of emotional intelligence. And I'm going to share this book on the WhatsApp group for us. And maybe Ian, you can be getting the WhatsApp group for the WhatsApp group link just to share it somewhere in case someone wants to join our community. So this the month of May, we are going to read the book Primal Leadership. We're just going to look at some of the things they talk about. So already I've identified the book that I'm going to read. I don't wait until May to figure out what I'm going to read. So that is a system that you build around behind your goal. Number 2, you ask yourself, how many pages does that book have? So, like for example, the book Primal Leadership that I'm holding in my hand, it has approximately, let me just check it out. It has around 290 pages. So 290 pages, I'm supposed to read, if I'm going to read 20 pages of this book every month, then how many days is it going to take? So if I'm going to read 20 pages in a day, someone help me do that mathematics so that I also see if you guys are here. If the book is 290 pages, how many days am I going to spend to read it if I'm going to be reading 20 pages in a day? So I'm going to spend around 15 days. Yes, someone say that?
14.5 days.
So that is basically like 15 days, right? That's okay?
Yes.
Let's talk. Yeah. So that's like 15 days approximately. So another system. So I want you guys to listen to me very carefully, because what I'm teaching you might change your life forever. It might change the trajectory of your life forever. So the desired goal is that I'm going to read 2 books in the next month. So you've already identified, first of all, the book we are going to read. So one of the book has 290 pages. So we have said that you need to read at least 20 pages of that book for 15 days. So if you're going to consistently read that book from the 1st of May to the 15th of May, by 15th of May, you will be done. Now, another system that you build around that habit is also asking yourself, how can I read 20 pages of a book? Maybe for those who are slow readers and possibly you do not you don't read fast as far as that is concerned. This is it. You tell yourself, like for me, that one of the system is I'm going to read only 5 pages. 5 pages in the morning, 5 pages mid-morning, 5 pages in the afternoon, and 5 pages in the evening. So 5 pages when I wake up in the morning and do it's part of my morning routine. 5 pages possibly in the mid-morning when I'm trying to relax my head. 5 pages when I'm possibly if I'm going to have 1 hour lunch break, I'm going to square in to read at least 5 pages of the book. And then in the evening, after taking a shower from work or from the gym, I'm at home, I'm going to read another 5 pages of the book. So you realize that at the end of the day, you have read 20 pages, but you have built a system around that desired goal. That's how habits are formed. The reason as to why you have never opened a book to read is because you've been asking yourself, where do I get time to read? You see, you'll never get to a point whereby you'll have a lot of time on your disposal. You have to create time. Now, another system you build, you ask yourself, how long does it take me to read 5 pages of the book? You see how you're able to fragment your habit to work for you. So the first thing can be something like this: 0%. I don't think I won't do it. If you guys can see if you can see the slide on your screen, and then 15% I can't, and then all of a sudden 45% I want to read, and then 60% I might be able to read, 75% I think I can, 100% no, 90% I can, and 100% I did. So it starts by you telling yourself, I want, I can't, I wish I could do, I want to, I might, I think I can, and then you find yourself telling yourself, I actually did it. So by the end of the 15 days, and if you're here, you want to join our leadership community to making sure that we have that. I know there are people in our leadership community who have really struggled reading. They have tried reading these books and they're like, just like me, I am lazy, possibly I don't know how to do these things. But if you join our community, when you see everyday people saying, hey, I have finished my 20 pages, I have finished my 20 pages, it also gives you the psych to be able to read. Because James Clear observed in his book that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. Build systems around your desired goal. That's important. Now, you realize that a habit basically is a behavior repeated enough times to become automatic. So it's a behavior that is repeated enough times to become automatic. So a habit is not something you think about. A habit is something you do automatically. And it has like 4 stages, what he called the 4 laws of habit, of sort of habit formation. Number 1, it talks about the cue. Number 2, it talks about the crave or the craving. Number 3, it talks about the response. Number 4, it talks about the reward. So the cue basically is the things that prompts you to do the thing that you need to do. So before I sleep, I normally put my book on the table, on my study table. So I have 2 study tables, the one on this side and the one on this side. So I make sure that in the morning, when I sit down on my study table, there's a book on the table. So that's a cue. You make it obvious. If you're telling yourself you're going to the gym and you have gone to the office, sometimes the best thing is not telling yourself, I will come from work and then get to the house and then change to my gym gears and then go to the gym. You put friction. You put friction in between the habit, and it can sometimes that's why it keeps on flipping off. So why don't you identify a gym around your workplace so that immediately you leave the office, you go to the gym, and then you go home. So that's actually the conversation I was having with one of my mentees yesterday. He was telling me, I'm feeling like there's some things he was telling me. So I was just trying to help him make the habit obvious. So first of all, you try to make sure that if possibly you go to the gym in the morning before you go to the office, why don't you prepare your gym workout gears before you sleep? So right, possibly somewhere in your bedroom, you make sure that your gym gears are right at the door or somewhere very somewhere very obvious. So you have your sport shoes, your gym gears. When you wake up in the morning, you're able to cue that. You're able to cue that habit. You know that by the time when I wake up in the morning, this is what I'm going to do. If it's about financial habit, for example, the most important thing that you can actually do is to making sure that, hey, whenever time money comes to my comes to my bank account, it sometimes you can automate that process where a percentage of that amount goes into savings or investment or the things that you want to do. So you have to make the habit obvious. The other thing that it's actually said by James Clear is that you have to make the habit attractive. So how do you make the habit attractive? You find ways. For example, I normally, even when I'm just in the house, I love reading with my earphones, with my earpods in my ears. Possibly, I'm not even listening to the music. It's something that helps me just to zone out any other form of distraction, and that is how I make the habit of reading attractive. You can make your habit of reading attractive by finding a corner or a place where you read. So sometimes possibly there are people who can actually say, I'll be spraying my reading room. And there's just some nice scent that gives you a sense of attractiveness around your habit. So that's actually how you make your habit attractive. That is the crave. And then the response, make it easy. You make it easy. Simon Sinek talks about the 2 minutes rule. So the 2 minutes rule, basically for him, he says, if anytime you're forming a new habit or you're reforming a new habit, don't do it more than 2 minutes. So for example, if you've never been to the gym, and of course, the 2 minutes rule, I hope God gives you the wisdom to understand what I'm saying, is not going to the gym for 2 minutes. It's all about asking yourself, how do I make this habit easy? So for me, I'm going to work only 20 minutes. When the 20 minutes clocks in, I'm going to leave. And you automatically leave the gym because that's how you want to make your habits easy. Because the thing is that the thing that is beating consistency of your habit is that you're trying to do your habits with intensity. You want to read 50 pages. You want to read, if you're trying to maybe read the Bible and you'll be trying to read the Bible for as long as you can remember, you are telling yourself going to read 7 chapters of the Bible. And you see, you have other things that you're doing. If there is nothing else you're doing, possibly, well and good for you. But you try to make your habits easy, palatable, and a way to carry them forward. You always look forward to doing them. And then create a reward system around your habits. I see I have like 5 minutes to conclude on this. Make your habits satisfying. So how do you make your habit satisfying? Always find a way to reward yourself. So for me, every time I finish a new book, every time I finish reading a book, because I don't buy my books on the street, I budget for my books. And I will encourage as many of you as possible, learn to buy books from the bookstore. I know sometimes we say it's cheap and all that. Please make sure you have a good book. Even when you put it in your library, it looks like a book. It doesn't look like a newspaper. And some of these books we buy in the streets, they don't have all the pages. You read the book in just one round, the pages start falling off, and you see it doesn't even look appealing. You're not even making that habit of reading attractive, so to say. So for me, what I do is that every time I finish reading a book, I reward myself by buying another one. And I normally love the scent of books. Every time I'm reading, I love pouring coffee on the pages of my book, writing on my book. So every time I finish reading a new book, every time I finish reading a book, I will always buy another one. And my fiance is actually listening to this call, and she can actually testify. And she normally take away my books. Let me now spoil the matter. Hopefully, she will not be able to kill me on that. But anyway, what I'm saying is this: find a way to reward yourself. Find a way to always create a pathway of building a reward system around the things that you're doing. So this is it. Habit formation, habit reformation. Have a cue, have a crave, have a response, and then have a reward. This I got this, and of course we are doing this because of the community that you've been reading this book, and it's just a moment to remind ourselves. So law number 1, make it obvious. Law number 2, make it attractive. Law number 3, make it easy. Law number 4, make it satisfying. Now let's look at something called the aggregation of marginal gain, and this is something that Simon Sinek talks about. Now let me just pause there for a minute. I would like to hear some feedback from you all. Anyone who would like to give us a feedback, something or just one thing that you're learning from this call? Anyone, just lift up your hand. I'll be able to see it from this side. Do we have any volunteers? Yes, Mary. Mary, go ahead.
Hi, Eugene. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for
Hi.
this opportunity. So there's one thing that struck me. Thank you so much for sharing this, that belief forms a habit, our belief systems form a habit, form thoughts, which form actions, which form habits, and then later it becomes a behavior. So this struck me because I noticed last week and also part of this week, I've been spending a lot of time on social media. Yet this has not been something that I do. I am not that kind of person. So, and I was trying to ask myself, why is this happening? Why are you always always on social media? You're jumping from either WhatsApp statuses to Instagram to Twitter to LinkedIn, and there was no, and it was so unproductive. So when you mentioned this, I remembered that I was my little sister keeps saying that it's as if I live under a rock, and so I realized that this behavior came about because I was trying to prove a point that I always have to be on top of every information that is going around. And I remember telling myself in the a few days ago that, oh, finally I've managed to keep up with the socials. Like I know everything that is happening, and this was just struck by it struck from there was a foundation behind that. So thank you so much for pointing this out. Now I know how to navigate just to go about this social media craze.
I love it, Mary. Thank you so much for that feedback. It's really encouraging, and I know it's something that actually you can start rewiring, and or even to all of us. Anytime you find yourself you are going off the trail of your natural self, there must be an underlying system. There must be an underlying thing, and you don't first of all start by judging yourself. You start by analyzing what the problem is all about. And thank you so much, Mary. Let's go to who is here? Nelson, go ahead. Maybe I'll take that and then we'll continue shortly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Bona Eugene Okanda. So far, so good. I love these conversations, and I think so far I've been one of your most favorite follower all the way back, and I can trace the consistency, and I can actually tell that people don't go to the next level, they grow to the next level. And many a times this is the reality that we don't want to face. We don't want to put in the work. We don't want to put in the discipline. And somehow we think that something will happen and you're going to boom out and shine all of a sudden. Like this concept of itajipa siku moja. So it's never really about one day, but day one. Asante, Eugene. Shukran.
I love it, Nelson. Thank you. These are people who have seen me starting off. I mean, it's been now like 6 years of consistency, and you're spot on. Consistency is spiritual. When you, in fact, if you're here and you're born again and you understand the whole dynamics around how God uses people, you realize that the people that God used were consistent. They were consistent in everything that they were doing. And our God is a consistent God. Is God yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't change. And that is the nature that God wants us to emulate. We need to be consistent because your consistency is under attack. And if your consistency is under attack, that means your dreams, your purpose, your vision, your ambitions are under attack. So the enemy is not fighting your dream. The enemy is fighting your consistency. So when you're battling with your consistency, you need to understand that you're under battle. Your destiny, your where you're going as an individual is also under sort of an attack. So you have to make sure that you commit yourself to being consistent, because that is the nature that we need to emulate. Allow me pick one more and then I continue. I finish up. Grace, let me give you an opportunity. Grace, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry. So what I wanted to say is, how do you differentiate between say my beliefs that maybe are limiting me and the current reality? Like, where do you draw the line? Say, like right now, for me, I know I can speak to the public, but somehow I believe maybe I have an issue with connecting with people, which is not true, because when I'm around people, I also tend to do well. But deep down, I know like I need to up something. So would you say that that is a belief that I have about myself, or is something that I can work on, or maybe I'm being too harsh on myself?
Yeah, I get it. So most of the time you realize that your belief system gives you a sense of identity. And you see, you might find yourself that you have different expressions of who you are as an individual. So when you are with a particular group of people, you are very confident. But when you're thrown into, for example, the Global Leadership Summit is putting a conference together in Kenya, and you've been speaking for the past 10 years, and now you've gotten this invitation, and imposter syndrome continues to speak to you so loudly. Does it therefore means that your belief system is not, does it mean that you have not been confident? It just means that your sense of identity continues to meet different pressure zones. And you see, the pressure zones that you experience while you're growing, they show you the areas that you need to grow. So every time you meet a challenge in life and in the path of your growth, it's not a moment for you to give up. It's a moment for you to come to terms to what you need to work on. And I just pray that what I've said just deliver someone. This is it, guys. I experience imposter syndrome every now and then. Sometimes I'm called to speak in this. I remember I'm in Tanzania, and I'm together with the Africa United Nations youth delegates at the United Nations in Tanzania, and then I'm the first speaker. The room is full of young diplomats, ambassadors, and commissioners, and they give me a sober introduction, and I go to stage, and my mind freezes off. Does it mean that I'm not a public speaker? Does it mean that it just means that I've experienced a pressure zone that is trying to unveil to me the area that I need to work on. So all the time, commit yourself to use imposter syndrome and moments of doubts as an opportunity for learning and growing. Have a conversation with your imposter syndrome. Have a conversation with your doubts. Have conversations with your fear. The most dangerous person is a person who is running away from their own shadows. Never run away from your own shadow. Every time you experience shadows of doubt, shadows of fear, it's an opportunity for you to ask yourself, what do I need to learn? So, for example, Grace, you've asked a very profound and given a very profound illustration. There are moments when the moments you will come to terms with, and it is not an attack on your belief. It's possibly an attack on your current version. So your current version tells you that I have been on this mountain for too long, therefore I need to up my game and grow. So that's the difference. So it doesn't mean that there's a problem with your belief system. It means that your belief system has met a different pressure zone that is asking you to grow yourself. Because every day we are sculpting ourselves. We are removing the unwanted patterns in our lives. And when that process is painful, that process is hard, that process is sometimes torturous, that process sometimes it demands isolation. But when you do that consistently, you will be able to continue to experience growth. Does it mean you will never experience that? No. You will always, new levels will demand, new levels will always submit you to new pressure levels. And those pressure levels are supposed to be used for your leverage so that you continue to grow. I pray that helps you, Mary and Grace and any other person. Right. So someone is saying, I never knew how important imposter syndrome is. Yeah, imposter syndrome is very important. It's very, very important. It's important for your own growth. Now, guys, I will beg to stop there for today. Now we are having we will be having this same conversation on the 1st of May. That is during the holiday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So we will be continuing with this conversation because the people who have not been able to join tonight, they will be joining us at 10 a.m. At 9 a.m. So we'll be having a very early morning coaching session. So if you want to attend, I'll really, really encourage you to attend so that I really respect your time, but also we also commit to making sure that we conclude on time. So I'll want to stop there, but I think I've been able to give you guys the raw version of habit formation and habit reformation. So on Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m., I'll continue with this conversation for those who have not been able to join, but also I'll be able to break down a few things. And then I'll be talking about 5 things that you need to make sure that you are maintaining consistency as far as your habits are concerned. So we'll be going through the 5 of them just to discuss, but also we'll be talking about how then do you leverage on the aggregation of marginal gain, and then we'll be looking at the 4 laws, sometimes in depth, so to say, and then we'll be looking at how then do you reverse as far as reformation is concerned. We'll be looking at that, and then we'll be talking about the 5 buckets and how you fill them in the right order. But for now, possibly I'll pick 1 or 2 questions, and then for those who will be interested to join this conversation on Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m., it will be very good. But I'll want to pick 1 or 2 questions, and then we bring this conversation to an end. Anyone with a question or a comment? Ian, you can reshare the WhatsApp link for those who like to join us. Okay, Justin, I can see your hand is up. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Okanda. Mine is not a question, but an appreciation. Thank you so much for this insightful session. For sure, it has been interesting to me learning new things, and I hope to join you on Thursday again. Thank you so much, Okanda.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Mora, Kenya. Mora, you can go ahead and mute your mic and speak to us.
Thank you so much, Eugene and team, for this insightful session. I actually have a question. It's like I'm sharing my experience.
Yes.
For someone who is in maybe med school, you're having these leadership roles, like a lot of things. And then it's like you have to be figuring out every time, ruling out important and urgent things. Okay, important, urgent, not important, but urgent, not urgent, important, not important, not urgent. And then it's like you only have 24 hours a day and you're busy throughout the day, but you also want to do like other things that are beneficial to yourself. But it's like you are always on the run, but you also don't want to live in that cage of being busy and everything. And then you're like, do I sacrifice my sleep? Do I and then it's like, do I need, it's like all the time you just want to pray and tell God, please, I need to, your grace is sufficient. And it's like, what do you say about these medical students who are just up and down?
Well, I wish you all the best in that as well. But let me start by saying also, my fiance is a medic. She's a medical officer, and she was in a medical school like yourself. She was the chair of the Young Christian Medical Students Association. She was part of the Christian Union into quite a number of leadership responsibilities, and she grew through that kind of a pressure, and she still made it. So one of the things I will do, I will connect you with her, and then you can be able to have a girls talk. And I think she can be able to really help you a lot because she also does a lot of coaching program for ladies, and I think that can be a very good social network for you. But one of the things I will tell you is, it gets to a time in your life as an adult where you move from time management to priority management. Time management is common. Everybody needs to know time management. But I'll tell you the truth, you can be a good time manager, but you're poor in priority management. And I pray you understand this, because when you lose out on priority management, time management becomes useless. So it gets to a point whereby you ask yourself, what is the most priority thing? So your priorities need to have priorities. So prioritizing your priorities. I don't know if you understand that. And that really will require you to have a very sober conversation with yourself. But also most important, asking yourself, are the things that I'm doing able to take me to where I need to go? If that question is not answered, then it means there's a disconnect. So I'll encourage you to sort of look at what are your priorities, how do you manage your priorities, and then therefore how do you therefore time your priorities so that you move from time management to priority management. But I'm going to connect you with Dr. Joanne. She'll be able to guide you on that, and I know it will be very helpful for you. Right, great. Petronila, maybe I'll take you the last one, and then we conclude this session. Petronila, you can unmute yourself. All right, so if Petronila is not... Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for such an insightful presentation. And mine is just an add-on our medic student. Also, I think journaling is very important for one to keep records of priorities and what to be done, where, when, how. I think when you are a leader, journaling is very key, and not even only a leader, even when you're doing your own things. If you learn to journal, it becomes very, very sufficient for you to run your programs. I was just to add that.
Yeah, journaling is a powerful tool. And you realize that many people struggle with journaling because they try to overthink. Journaling should not be something that you overthink about. It's just you expressing your thoughts, expressing your anxieties, expressing your success stories, expressing what you need to do. And that has to be on a daily basis. So if you want to if you want to really be good in journaling, buy a very good diary. It can really help you a lot as far as that is concerned. Now, I think we've come to the end of our conversation tonight. We're going to have another session on Thursday. And this is just a segue to the coaching program we're going to run in May. Just to mention, this coaching program is not normally paid for, but today I decided to give you guys just an experience package so that you can get to know what I do, how we do it, and quite a lot of learning that goes into this. So today we were not charging for this coaching session, but we normally charge the coaching session monthly for your own growth and for your own development, because the things we do here is for your personal growth. But just if you're here and you want to support the work that we do, you can be able to send in your any support you want to give towards this work. And you just want to say, let me support the work that you do. That has been helpful. It's been insightful. I like to give something small to support the work that you do. Because each of these things that we do is for the benefit of building the human capital. So if you're there and you'll want to say, I want to support this work that you're doing, you can use the till number on the slide. But let's meet on Thursday, same time, not same time, at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Just we run through the remaining part of the session, and the Lord will bless you. I think I'll hand it over to Ian, and Ian is going to give us some announcement as we wrap up the session. But I'll keep the till running just for anyone who will say, I want to support the work that you do. So Ian, you can take it up. Help us read the comment section.
Thank you so much for such a lovely presentation. It's indeed been a wonderful one. And from the charts we have, it's a testament that it has been very productive. Nusrat says it has been interesting and boosting. Matilda says she's even interested in reading the book. Matilda will contact you after this, just side chatters. And Francis says, I was reading a book called Finish What You Start by Peter Hollins about what Mora is talking about, priorities, distractions, and temptation. Catherine says, this is a powerful session. Asante sana. Joe Mwangi says, thank you, Saukanda, and congratulations in your big wins. Henry says, thank you for finding time to coach us on how to improve our habits for self-empowering. Fidel, thank you, Okanda. It has been an insightful session. Morat, thank you, Petronila. And Miss Harriet says, I'm deeply grateful to be part of this space, loving the energy and insights already. Looking forward to reconnect with you on Thursday and dive deeper in the conversation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight. And like Okanda said, we have a monthly coaching session that is running out for the rest of the year, for the remaining 8 months. I've shared the link to our WhatsApp group in the chat. So kindly feel free to join us. Feel free to be part of this transformative space. The charges are not exorbitant and they are very commensurate. In fact, some are saying we're even undercharging, but we'll keep it at that. We won't increase the charges. So Ropin will have this conversation. And as we close this coaching session, I want to leave us with one truth, that the world is not looking for those who are available, but the world is looking for those who are valuable. And the primary way to create value around yourself is to form and reform healthy and productive habits. And so tonight we've not just had a conversation, but we've had an invitation to examine the patterns that shape our lives, to let go of what no longer serves us, and to take intentional steps towards the version of ourselves that we are meant to become. Cognizant of the fact that change doesn't happen overnight, but it is a consistent step that begins with just making a step. So I challenge us that what new habit do you want to nurture tonight? And what old habit are you finally ready to release? Thank you for showing up, for engaging, and for investing your time in growth. Let's continue building lives of purpose. Until next time, stay intentional, stay committed, and keep growing. And finally, I'd like to invite one volunteer to close for us with a word of prayer.
Let's believe and pray. Abba Father, thank you very much for the opportunity to meet this evening. We don't take it for granted for having this session and just appreciating how the iceberg usually determines who we are. And even as we look forward to developing our personal and professional lives, Abba Father, may you guide us. May you show us the way. May you lead. Even as we take the steps, no matter how small they are, Lord, let the steps be moving forward. We thank you for our facilitator, Pochokanda, for his zeal, for his leadership, and for his sacrifice in ensuring that young leaders are aware and explore their full potential. Be with us even as we continue with this journey, Lord, and may we be a testament of what lies in within us, Lord. Jehovah, even as we part this evening, Lord, may you be with each and every one of us. May you protect us. And even as we just continue with our doings, may it be where we're working, may it be where we're studying, Lord, and whatever we're doing, Lord, be in it, Lord. And we know very well that at the end of the day, Lord, may the impact not only stick into our minds, Lord, but also trickle down into our hearts so that it can be seen as we walk as the salt of the earth, Lord. It can be seen in our marketplace. It can be seen with how we utter and how we show up. It is in the name of Jesus Christ I do believe, I prayed. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, guys. Have a blessed night. See you next time.